Hi everyone. So this is Finding the Why podcast hosted by Tebbs Gallery. Finding Your Why is a community of artists coming together to build relationships and disrupt the elite systems. Finding the Why is hosted by Tebbs Gallery for artists by artists, set up by professional artists Sarah Hardy, Tat Supreme, and Kirstie Tebbs, with weekly live streamed podcasts talking everything about art. Strong opinions and honest talk from professional artists and guests, from predjudism to bananas duct tape to a wall to exposés. And yeah, so today we have Tat with us. And Tat, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Hi, yeah, sure. I'm Tat Supreme artist, mixed media artist or multidisciplinary. I never try. Every time people say, "What kind of art do you do?" I'm like, "What kind of art don't I do?" And I just mean that because I find that question really hard to answer. I think I've always been into art, whether it's performing arts or physical sculpting, painting, drawing, anything you can get mucky with and have fun with. That's what's brought me into the art world. So yeah, that's me. I just make whatever I feel like at the time.
Okay, that's great. And this week is Mental Health Awareness Week. Mental health is such an important thing to talk about. It is surprising what people go through and how many people are actually struggling.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
That's such a. If anything, I want to say I pretty much love how over time I've seen more and more support and increase for that. You know,
Mm.
I think it's something people aren't ashamed to talk about, people engage with and acknowledge because I think in every part of society, someone, if not ourselves, all have encountered it or dealt with it in one way or another.
Mm.
So it's something that I'm glad when I see all the banners, all the mental health, and all the stuff on TV. Sometimes I'm like, good. It's good to see that,
Mm.
because yeah, it's quite tragic where sometimes you just hear some stories of how you know things don't go so well, maybe because people couldn't find the support that they might have needed
Mm.
had it been there for them, or had known that people are dealing with these issues. Personally, I feel celebrities are a lot they're the ones where it comes really amplified.
Mm.
I won't lie to you. I mean, I was just saying this the other day in another mental health group. Actually, I said, you guys are aware that Matthew Perry has serious problems. He's the
Mm.
funny man on Friends, but in real life he's got his issues. A lot of people, Robin Williams, Chester from Lincoln
Mm.
Park, all these reality TV stars who go through these things, and then behind closed doors we got the mental health. So yeah, it's good that we talk about them constantly. So that's just my personal feeling, that I'm glad that we're always trying to advocate for it.
Mm.
Sorry, guys, I was just trying to send a link to somebody who can't quite access the event. But yeah, I just wanted to follow up what you were saying, Tat, about Mental Health Week. I mean, especially during lockdown, I think a lot of people have found they've been drawn to activities that they wouldn't normally have time or be able to engage with, and it's actually been a saving grace for them. And we touched on it last week as well, how important the arts actually are to a kind of your health and wellness and kind of personal expression. I was reading some stats from Mind just before, and it's I think, what is it, 1 in 6 people a week on any given week will be affected by some form of mental health problem. And I think it's about 8 out of 100 people in the UK alone have kind of suffered some kind of dealings with depression and anxiety simultaneously. So it's really common. But as I say, what's really interesting is the effect that participating in the arts and creative pursuits actually benefits us, and not just emotionally, but on a I suppose when you tackle things emotionally, you can also begin to address things that are more physiological, and you start to feel at ease physically, but also you've got that physiological impact, which eventually you lower your cortisol levels, and you start thinking in a different way. And yeah, it's
I love what you're saying. If you don't mind me just chiming in, I met you guys through myself having found my journey in art through mental health therapy. Somebody said to me, look man, you're good at art, just get in with the art people. Here we are, I'm chatting with you guys this time, maybe not this time last year. I was not doing art in this way at all. So what I'm trying to say in a positive way is that, yeah, I'm here having this chat because someone encouraged me to take my art and use that as therapy. I found a new community I never would have otherwise. So it's definitely community building.
It's true. And it's amazing how the people in art are actually so supportive and will help you through of it. And I think art has been the thing that has really pulled me out of a lot of my depression and anxiety. It's almost like it's just getting it all out onto a page, even though my artwork isn't really about mental health. It just helps me work through all my problems. And where in the past I've had problems with other artists in the studio, with the way how their views towards me was not very positive because of what someone else was saying, and until they spoke to me, it was art was the thing that I could block out the rest of the world and know to myself that I'm doing it true to me. I am being completely authentic with myself.
Yeah, you found your why.
Exactly, I found my why with my artwork, and really, and the success I've had with my artwork is just a stepping stone from me and being able to have my headspace in art and find out who I really am through art. And that's actually how I actually know quite all the people that I do, really, is through the art world and just chatting to them and seeing that people really are in my same wavelength.
Yeah.
I think it really does provide some kind of breathing space. And we're so lucky to be able to do something that we love so much and that we get so much from, kind of in the more holistic sense, for a living. Because I think there's so many people have kind of been funneled into jobs and areas of work that they're really not happy with. And they don't see, they don't see how they can make things work on a full-time scale with things that they might love more so. And we're not denying it's hard work making your voice heard, because there is so much talent out there. And I suppose that in some ways can drive a mental health problem, because you are kind of aware about what's everybody thinking, am I good enough? And but as long as you kind of override that and you can just do what you want to do it because you love it and be authentic to that, then I suppose you're much more likely to thrive and then make a success of it eventually.
It's so true with what you're saying, is when you're true to yourself and you stop thinking about what other people are perceiving and stop and get over the idea of I'm going to fail. And then that's where you really find out that you're actually going to thrive. You're going to make money from it. And I mean, the saddest part is a lot of artists don't make their living from just their practice alone. They teach, they have workshops, they do everything else as well. But you can actually find out that you love that just as much.
I think it's
sorry, go on.
So, I was just going to say, I think it's a really important part of kind of whatever you do to be able to, I suppose, be of service in some way like that, kind of impart your skills and impart your passion and kind of inspire other people.
Bring color into the world, bring life, energy.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, like, again, I keep mentioning, like, I haven't mentioned yet just now, but for me, part of my story is it literally took somebody in one of my support communities. I showed them, I was like, oh yeah, when I make out of my phone, and I show them my phone. And they looked at my phone, they're like, oh my God, did you make this? And I was like, yeah. And seeing that effect it had on that person and noticing more and more, and that person kept on coming back to me saying, look, don't sit on this, so you might be doing something that someone might really love and you're oblivious to it. So you need to put out, you can't sit on your own thing, put it out, send it to the world.
It's true. And it's true. Your artwork literally tells the story of you, whether or not you realize it, whether
Yeah.
it's your entire practice is like from A to B, or one work can also can tell everything about you. I remember I did an exhibition once. I had made these big Hessian sculptures, and I had two of them together, a big one and a small one. And someone who came by the private view came up to me, and she said to me, "Have you lost your mother?" I've never met her before, and I lost her a long, long time ago, growing up. And she was like, "I can see that in your work, in just those two sculptures alone." It literally told that story, that part of me, and I would never have thought about that unless someone actually said that to me. And it's just, I found that absolutely incredible.
That's just brought me out on goosebumps, actually.
Yeah, and you had no idea until she pointed it out. So if she hadn't pointed it out, you'd have carried on until somebody else pointed it out, because I'm sure they would have, but you'd have been oblivious is the point. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's the beauty of it. We need to let it out. If you're a creative, let it out. Just let it fly.
It's so true. And yeah, I think that brings us quite well onto the next bit. With our part discussion about what makes exhibitions memorable. Like, what do we think of past exhibitions we've been to? What do we remember about them? Is it the artwork, or is it actually the personal experience? I have some absolutely cracking memories of different ones I've been to, especially Tate. I went to I think I've told you both before, a Franz West exhibition a year or two ago in Tate. And I was walking through, and pretty much I don't remember the sculptures really. I don't remember what was there. I don't remember the day, but I do remember standing in front of this big pink sculpture hanging from the ceiling, and the gallery assistant coming up behind me, not saying hello, and just saying, "Don't you just want to swing on this?"
That's insane. But you know what I love about that? It sounds like he's been sat there, like really thinking about it, waiting for people just to clear off so he can just.
Yeah, like, who can I tell this to? Who looks like someone who understands
wants to
clearly
do this.
this?
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, her. He actually scanned the room and he found you and waited for you to be there by that one. He's like, she gets it. I'm sure. Yeah, those shoes, that hair, she gets it. And I mean that in a good way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's it. It's like it brings things out of you. I mean, for myself, I don't think I've been to as many as I would have liked to by now. So I know that I just try not to think. I just check it out, and then if I like something, I love something that makes me just go, that is dope. Whatever that is, like especially if it's abstract. For some reason, I've always been more abstract, you know. So if it just looks cool and it's like, yo, it makes you say that. You know, so yeah, I went to the Tate once, and I remember there was like some red stuff, and I could see, I think it was quite like almost meant to be emotive with the lighting and make people really think and talk and ponder. I just thought, yo, yeah, it looks okay. You know. And then in the next room I saw this Technicolor stuff that made me go, okay, yeah, I actually was like, I gotta get a picture of this one, you know what I mean? Because it was just exciting for me how the colors were more interesting and jumpy outy, like. So yeah, I think it triggers emotions. And yeah, I can't remember what year that was. I'm gonna guess around 2018. And you know, in the Tate they usually have different rooms, different sections and stuff, and I just remember thinking to myself, I'm loving all of this, and yeah, let everyone just do everything. Let us check out what you're doing, even if I don't know what it means. So yeah.
I've been to a few. Kind of the ones that have stood out, I think one of them was purely because, well,
if I can say quickly,
sorry, go on.
I know, sorry, you can carry on. Do you want me to say it? I'll say it real quick. Like, I used to live in a town in the Midlands, and somebody just thought, let me go around taking pictures of all the doormen outside of nightclubs and pubs, and that was the exhibition. And I know all of them, and I just thought, that is so cool, because I'd never seen anyone just say, let me take pictures of the doormen and that's the, you know what I mean, the subject of my work, because he did it well. And for some reason, I've never looked at so and so in that light before. Good for you. So yeah, that I remember that one. Yeah.
Oh, cool. There's maybe 3 or 4 that have really stood out. One of them was in Lucca in Italy, and it was Marc Chagall, and it was kind of a bit of a I did a bit of study of him when I was studying art, and kind of designed a fashion collection around his work, and just the color, and I suppose being away, and that made it extra special. So I think location, if it's quite a unique and unusual, and Uffizi as well, although that's obviously a permanent exhibition, but they've stood out, I think, with Uffizi, because there's so much to it, and it's all quite iconic and religious. And at the time I was just like, how when you have the descriptions beside each piece, and I was intent on just about reading just about everything that I came across, and I came away with a sore neck and like sore eyes, and just rather worn out by it all. Wow. But it's impressive, and it's obviously kind of worth going to as an artist. I think currently, well, I'm saying more currently, there was Heather Phillipson's The Age of Love that I saw at the Baltic in Gateshead, and that kind of stood out for me. It was kind of a lot of installation work, and yeah, I think I showed Kirstie that big cat that was, it was almost like had psychedelic eyes or something, and there was a smell that was pumped through the gallery space, and then TVs lining the wall just showing nesting gulls. And I think because it was such a multi-sensory experience, that really kind of, it kind of brought you right into the present. It's like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? What next? What's coming? Do you know what I mean? So that was really quite engaging.
Kind of like when you're going through the tunnels at Disney World, and you're on them rides, and you think things are going to jump out at you.
Yeah. I gotta say, for art alone, I think one of the most memorable I've had is Olafor Eliasson. His installations are phenomenal. He recently did something at the Tate, and you literally go in to a blacked out room, and right in the middle it looks like there is a rain cloud literally raining, and you can feel the cold. But it wasn't. And you'd go into the next bit, and you'd walk through a tunnel which was so densely filled with smoke you couldn't see a foot in front of you, but the smoke was all lit up in different colors that was slowly fading and changing into each other. And I have to say, the atmosphere and playing on multi-sensory rather than just looking or just dimming a light or something like that, the actual use of everything was just so powerful. And he's such an advocate for climate change, and you walking around that, you can literally feel that presence of urgency and the need and everything like that. And coming out of the exhibition, there was this massive room where on the walls they were lined with all of his research, like literally books he's read, newspaper articles, his own notes, and you could then go online to his website and relook at all of his research that he's done. And it really showed that it's not just the artwork that's important, it's also the reason that you're creating and the points that you want to make really come across. It really showed how much he cared, rather than this is my artwork, go see it. Isn't it great?
That's I love what you just said. That sounds really like I want to see it, you know what I mean?
I would recommend it. I'll put some links of his work into the Facebook group tonight, because I think everyone should really see what he can do. He's fantastic.
it sounds like when like you said, there's so many different ways to do art, look at art or whatever. But when an artist is almost kind of like you got a message, it's like this is not me trying to show you something cool. This is me showing you like what's going on. What you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
passion. I think passion is the word I'm hearing from what you're describing. And
Yeah.
that's important, I think, because yeah, I don't know how many people really feel passionate when they're making something, and say, oh my God, I'm gonna like show the world how I feel about this thing. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't say that I can't say that I don't do that or I do that. I just know that I know with myself, right? I'll just use myself as an example. I watch a lot of documentaries about arts and artists and stuff. Always have since a child. And I think for me, that's where I feel kind of more inspired. I go with inspiration rather than here's my message. So it's just interesting to hear some people like, yo, you guys got to see what's happening. I will show you through my art. That's really a cool way to process.
It's just absolutely phenomenal. And going on to the art news this week, is the US's first ever exhibition solely for dogs. So excited when I read this.
You know what? Oh my God. I want to see that. I need to see it because there's one thing interesting. What can I tell why I jumped like that? Correct me if I'm wrong. Dogs are colorblind. So is that color in arts? I mean, is that arts and color?
So what they've done with the exhibition is they have tailored all of the colouring of the exhibition to the dog's limited colour scheme. Right. They've put all of the artwork to the height of a dog, and they've done it so it's everything that would interest a dog. So there's a hall of bones.
I've got 1,000 questions here. Okay, so which dog? Which height? Because you got a Great Dane the size of a horse, and then you got them corgis down there. So where's the,
maybe it's mean height. So
that's the average height of a dog. I will have so many questions for these people, man. I want to see the exhibition, then I'll be like, okay, now I get it. My question is answered. Because I'm like, there's so many variations of dog. Like, how do you get the mean?
It's so interesting as a dog owner as well, because they have they must have a totally different perception of the world because they're down there, we're up here. And they will have different triggers depending on their experience. But because you can't actually talk to them like we would talk to each other, they express in their ways, the way they can, what's going on. But we very often misinterpret that.
I just had a mad idea, right? I think someone should invent like a chip that translates to the dogs that see this exhibition, because I'm wondering how many of them actually saw the art while they were in there. Because they're not going to be like staring at an art piece and going, oh yeah, that's dope. They're probably like, yo, check that dog out. Yo, check him out. Yo, that's so food. So how many of them saw the art? You know what I mean? I love to see the statistics behind that.
I'd love to see also how many dogs thought it was a toy and go, oh my God, I got to play with this. And then they're like, no, you can't play with it. You're meant to look at it. And I've seen this done. I've definitely seen something done before in the past. I can't remember if it's the UK or something. And they did a massive ball pit. So then dogs weren't just looking at art. They could also have a big play area, which I would assume if I was a dog, that's the only thing that really caught the dog's attention was all the balls. I have to read. I think I need to contact the curator.
Yeah, I want to see it. You got me, like, I really want to see it because I can imagine there must be one piece somewhere with a tennis ball, just that, or maybe just a tennis ball hanging from the wall.
It is just slowly.
Because I think tennis ball is the ultimate dog stimulant. Like, you know what I mean? There's got to be a tennis ball somewhere in that exhibition. Now, if not, I'll write to whoever curated and say, really, you forgot the ball.
You know what I think should happen? Just because I'm such a cat person, why aren't there exhibitions for cats? I would literally, my cat is a house cat, but I would take her out to a cat exhibition if there were toys that she could play with and things that she would love. Why is everything centered for dogs?
Well, how do you know that it wasn't curated by cats to get all the dogs in one place so the cats can go do their thing in peace?
Yes. Get all the dogs out of the house so the cats can have a day to themselves. Hey.
While the dog's away, the cats will play.
Yes, exactly.
What would be really interesting is an exhibition that put us in the place of the dogs so we could actually get an idea of how they perceive the world. Obviously, you all know I'm an animal person, so this was probably going to be the first thing that came to mind. But kind
They
of the
did that on
colors,
TV.
you know,
Did you
sorry,
see
go
the
on.
thing? I think it's channel 5 or channel 4. They did the cameras on the top of the cats and let the cat roam around, and you can see from the cat's eye view. Did you see that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's actually from the animal, and they show everywhere it went, it's a day and all that. So yeah, Sarah, check that out.
If we make it in the place of a dog, would the room be 10 times bigger, or would you have to go around crawling on your hands and knees?
Hands and knees, I think. Just to make it awkward.
Yeah. Put the roof right down so they force you to, but make it perfect so you can see everything. Squeeze
people into little cages.
I want to see that. I'm so gonna check it out after this. I'm going online to check out this exhibition.
The cafeteria, you'd have to eat
before the end of the day
from dishes.
Oh, I need to see that.
That was another thing we were talking about. The best part of like going to an art gallery is sometimes the cafe at the end.
Yeah. How so? I don't get that.
Cake. Obviously.
Cake,
yeah.
Yeah.
There's part of a lot of places, really.
So yeah, we're talking about amazing installation. Richard Nonus died a few days ago. He was, for those of you who don't know, he was a phenomenal sculptor. His practice is a lot of what my practice is, where he's done so much research and play into space, place, time, and uses such raw materials to create these installations. And really, while he was alive, I would have wished to have gone to one of his exhibitions. Just looking at his photos, they are so interesting. It's such a shame, really, because he was a pioneer, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, sorry, just to follow up on what you said, that although an artist dies, that immortalizes their work. You know, so I'm sure many people are going to get to see and appreciate it for that, you know, still.
Yeah, it is a shame though, because I'm sure there's, you know, it happens a lot, kind of your art or a lot of art doesn't become well known until the artist passes. And I suppose, you know, that's something that's trying to be changed, but it's still kind of so common.
I blame society for that, because I mean, no one really cares until anything like that. I mean, it's funny, I was watching a documentary on Picasso, right? There's so many, I'm guessing, but they mentioned that there's a massive vault with about 3,000 odd pieces that have never seen the light of day of Picasso's. And obviously the family is going to be still fighting over time for all the, you know, and I'm just like, how mad is that? We think we've seen a lot of Picasso, but
we haven't.
You know, it's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy what they have in storage. I mean, usually you can, if you know it's there, you can write to the gallery and say, look, can I look in your archive for this specific artwork? But it just makes you wonder how much is what have they bought for millions but is not on show? What is in their archives? Because even things Natural History Museum, it's something like only 1% of everything they have is on show. The other 99% is in archives, and you can't see it unless you write specifically and have a reason to see it.
That actually annoys me a bit, because I'm just like, well, that gives us this whole austerity, you know, kind of like, okay, we can see the art, and if we deem you worthy, then we'll allow you to see it. Man, just let it out. If I die, I got all the stuff that you can see. I want them to see it when I'm gone, because it'll never see the light of day. It'll end up in some private collector's thing or something, you know?
Yeah, it's serving no purpose, is it? Just being stored away like that. I can understand trying to preserve it, but, you know, equally there are ways of preserving work when it's on show.
And isn't that the point of art? To be seen, to be felt, to just be in the presence of it, because where would we be without art? And that's one of the hardest challenges that artists nowadays face, that are living, to get their art seen. And even though that might not be the number one, the biggest thing for them to get it seen, sometimes the biggest thing is to make it. Every art deserves to be seen. It all deserves to be seen. You can't see all of it, sadly, but all of it just deserves it. And I think that's what puts such a harsh line on. When the artist dies, the artwork is more sought after, it's worth more, just because it no more will be made again by that artist and from that viewpoint. And it's a shame, because support living artists over dead artists.
How would you feel if you're an artist, right? And let's just say, I won't go too much in it, but that now you're dead, right? And you got all these vultures going to make money off of your death. It's almost like people are waiting for us to die.
Yeah.
That's not right. That's not right, man. We need to change that. You know what I mean? Like, we need to change that.
It'd be interesting to see in a couple of decades' time, when we're old and going.
Yeah, man.
What the world is like.
Yeah, I love, I love we touched on this, because I do think about that sometimes. I'm like, well, are people you're more valuable when you're dead? Do you know what I mean? Even if you're not an artist, is that what we're telling society? Like, nobody really appreciates that. That saying, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Imagine if Michelangelo was alive right now, what he'd be capable of. In whatever we got. But we still love what people like that done back then with what they had. So, and I'm sure they were loved as much when they were alive. We just got to love them more because they're dead. But when they're alive, I don't think they weren't loved less than they were. I don't know if I'm, you know what I mean?
Don't you think? Sorry, go on. I've interrupted.
Please go on.
I was just going to say, don't you think people have actually lost the true value of life, and they're putting more emphasis still unconsciously on material assets and the value of things, rather than on the value of life, and how much better it could be if they actually had a proper understanding, a proper value of it, and living more in the present.
I completely agree with that. And I think coronavirus, with the lockdown, has shown so many people that it's a better quality of life to be able to be home. Not necessarily, I mean, it'd be nice to have had the loved ones, but it's showing you that loved ones are so important in your life to spend time with, and that we shouldn't be chasing the money just to be able to live, just to be able to put food on the table. I was pretty lucky with maternity, and my partner with furlough, where could you imagine a society where some of them still do work like this, where you trade a skill for a skill, or you work as a community and you give each other what you need, so no one goes without. It would be amazing to be able to live like that again.
Out there, sometimes I watch these like Alaska documentaries and remote places. So they're not like necessarily like Papua New Guinea remote, but they're more like in Alaska. There's a lot of barter. I'll give you this for in exchange for that. People live off the grid. There's a lot of that, and appreciation and value of
exactly.
Ultimately, I guess, Sarah, to get back to what you were saying earlier, I think the answer to that for me is like, it's all about money. It's not about the art or the artist. I mean, before Banksy blew up, right? Let's just say the year he did what he was doing, like the very first thing he did, people would just say, "Oh, look at that graffiti, vandalism." Someone probably phoned the police while he was painting on a wall. You know what I mean? Think about it. Money is the thing that we value things, I think, sometimes for the wrong reasons, or the wrong way, because we've made it like that. Imagine we give away all art for free, like everyone, Damon Hirst, whoever, everyone just give away your art. I wonder how many people still keep making it. If we had to give it away for free.
It's true. And carrying on with the idea of money, I think it's such a ridiculous in my mindset, it's a bit of a ridiculous concept, and I do wish for the old days, but it's something that works, and it creates order to a society.
But
Sotheby's, they've started accepting cryptocurrency, and I think it said that Banksy's artwork was actually the first one that they accepted for cryptocurrency recently.
I've been seeing that stuff a lot, the NFT stuff and all that. But because that's where society is going, Kirstie.
It is.
We live now in a world where they'd rather have the cryptocurrency. Like, I'll give you an example. Let's say this remote was made by Damon Hirst, right? And it's worth X amount. It's 5 Bitcoin. Those 5 Bitcoin are ultimately going to fluctuate in value whoever has got them, right?
Yeah.
But it's the Bitcoin themselves that it's coveting. They're not coveting the art. So again, it's about what's the, you know, I mean, it's about power and money and wealth and hoarding it, really, in a way. You know.
Upset, but I get so confused with this. Like, what? So I read earlier. So Tesla was such an advocate for Bitcoin, and then he says, "Don't use Bitcoin because it's bad for the environment." And with the mining, but if it's a virtual currency, what is it mining? What is it?
I was literally thinking Tesla, and I kid you not, Elon Musk is a clever dude, man. Is, you know, that they're selling Teslas for Bitcoin right now. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Because he wants all of them. Because ultimately, right now, 1 Bitcoin is £44,000. Last I checked. If he wants X amount of Bitcoin for his cars, and then he's got all the Bitcoins, and Bitcoin's still getting more value, he's going to be Uncle Scrooge. So he can say what he wants, but he's monopolizing people. That's what he's doing.
I've heard two ways of looking at it. One, that it could just fall off a cliff, and then there are some huge advocates of it, thinking that it could end poverty and kind of solve a lot of the world's problems. So I suppose it's individual perception and your experience of it as well.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
But I should just point out here, we need to be careful that we're not talking ourselves out of paying careers by talking about money like this.
Yes, pay us, please.
It sticks with the theme of how, I guess, social, economical, political, it covers all that. Because Sarah, I love what you just said. There's a show I watched recently called Bitcoin Africa, and before the Bitcoin bubble burst, like boom, they were showing how they were paying for electricity in schools with Bitcoin. Now that school's not going to afford £44,000, you know what I mean, per coin, are they? So someone saw, oh, that's valuable, so let's make it, you know, a thing. So it's like art. If someone decides art is valuable, like a banana on a wall, it's not valuable because people say so, not because it is.
Yeah. It's true. It's quite interesting to actually look at values of artworks, because surely the value comes to what the artist says, but as a society, the value is actually what the market says and what someone would buy it for.
Yeah, the highest people will pay.
Yeah, you get some stunning artworks by, say, like a nobody or someone who isn't really well known, and that could be going for like 50 quid, 60 quid, where they spent hours. And there is things like the banana duct tape to a wall that, to get the intellectual property of, someone paid millions for it. Hey, what? I could stick a fruit to a wall, but I wouldn't be paid that because it's not in a big gallery and my name's not very well known.
That's all it is.
And yeah.
Even Banksy, while we're on this, because I'm like a massive Banksy fan, and I saw this doc where they're talking about he had all his originals on the street with this old man selling them, and people were walking past them, you know, but because they went to Kirstie's or wherever, you know, for X amount, and the prices were like 80, and if someone paid that much, you would have let it go for that much. And these were the originals. So we value being in a Kirstie's room rather than paying for a real Banksy on the street. Because we don't know what one actually looks like.
Because we have that hierarchy telling us that we should be paying that money for it.
Yeah, mad. Mad. I wonder if the Mona Lisa in the Louvre is the real one. Think about it. How do you know? Who knows? Who actually knows?
That is one of the strangest experiences, because you go and there's like a mass of people all with their phones up taking photos of people taking photos of people taking photos of this one picture.
It's so surreal when you go to a big one, like go to Van Gogh. I have to say it was the funniest experience of my life, because it had the starry night, it had the sunflowers, and people were so rather than experiencing the artwork, looking at the texture, like being in the presence of this artwork that has been so pushed and idolized, that they were just getting out their phones, snap, walk round, snap, walk round, snap, walk. They weren't looking at the artwork. They were just wanting to put on social media, I've been here, look at this,
Exactly.
I've seen this artwork.
It's about status.
Yeah, and people were so wanting to get these photos so bad. They were shoving people over just to get like the best shot. I remember there was this guy, couldn't really speak much English, and he came in straight into the exhibition. He kept on knocking this older lady that out the way. Wow. And at one point she was stood there right in front of this artwork, absolutely admiring it. Next thing you know, he's come over, he's shoved her, she's halfway across the room for him to take a photo, go and walk away.
Seriously.
As a society, how can see a piece of artwork that's been idolized so big be more important than the other human's existence?
You know what you've just said, what came into my head while you're saying that to me, so I'm touching on this camera stuff, it's making me think that, look, you could put your heart and soul into this work, right? And let's say it sells for millions and millions. Ultimately, it's going to be about that person saying, look, I got a picture with a Kirstie Tebbs. Yeah. They probably don't even know the title of your work. So people don't care about what you're doing really. Or some people do, like, we're going into details. We love this, we love that. But it makes you go, yeah, how many people care about the art and the artist themselves, really, deep down?
Yeah. Who's more important, the artwork or the artist? The
or
name that's attached to it.
Or is the selfie more important?
Yeah.
Think about it. It's about status.
Yeah.
It's literally about status and nothing else. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that video when Jay-Z and Beyonce shut down the Louvre to get next to the Mona Lisa. And that's about status. It's about saying we can do this and you can't.
Yeah.
There's no other reason for that at all.
True.
They've done that and not shown a video of it. Think about it. They could have done that, had a private viewing and gone home. But they're like, no. We shut the Louvre. You need to see this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we go on to our little book recommendations? This week we've started a new feature because we thought, how many books is out there that can help an artist and help them find the why? Some interesting books or TV shows that we've come across. Sarah has a little book this week. It actually sounds really interesting.
I just had to mute myself. I'm getting some background noise. So I didn't want to disturb everybody. But yeah, I basically, I used this book many years ago. It's called The I Ching, and I don't know whether anybody's familiar with it. It's not an art book as such, but it's kind of, I suppose it's a book of systems that's used, maybe divination, I don't know, but yeah, maybe like an oracle. And it involves the use of a coin, and you flip the coin 6 times, and depending on the outcome of the flips and which side it lands on, you kind of record that, and then you kind of work out what page you're meant to be on, and then it kind of gives you a reading. But years ago, my interest in it was that I used to dance, and so I was kind of, I did a lot of research on choreographers, and I started reading about Merce Cunningham, and he collaborated with John Cage, and they used the I Ching to determine the choreography and the score, and pull that together. So I thought that was really interesting, and I suppose in a way, anybody could use it like that. They could use it for anything they wanted, but I just, as I say, it's not a book to review as such, but it is kind of just like a really interesting way of working, that random chance that it introduces to your work. And you could like say, one flip of the coin was worth kind of a stroke in red, or does that make sense?
Yeah.
Again, I don't know whether I'm articulating it very well, but yeah, I suppose you can attach whatever you want to the outcomes. So
That sounds great.
Can I add to that while you're on that? Because we did this when I was at music school, basically. And I'll go into my next point. Basically, we were told, right, guys, here's a bunch of newspapers, right? We're gonna take all these newspapers, and I want you to highlight random shit in there, and we're gonna use those words to write a song. Because people do this, and we actually do songwriting classes based on random shit in the paper. So you're not sitting there with a particular, oh, I'm thinking about a girl, or I'm thinking about my dead dog. It was more of find the most randomest words, highlight them, and make that into an actual song. So it sounds, it reminds me of that. And then my next point is, I don't know if you guys know this artist. I might need to look him up. He used to black the newspapers.
Yeah.
And things, and you leave the certain words, and they spelt out. You know what I mean? You know the one I mean, right?
Yeah, I know who you're on about. I don't know the name. I remember seeing him once.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Because it became something so like, wow, It's
interesting what they strung together. I know so many artists that work in chance, because it really does show sometimes that chance really isn't chance.
Yeah.
As some show chance is.
I think it's probability. Probability governs a lot of things. If you think about it, So if you're tossing a coin, that's probability. Rolling the dice. And then, like if you're going to black out one article from a newspaper, and the probability of you finding sentences that make sense with the random leftover words, it's highly probable. I might be wrong. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. Yeah. That's cool.
That sounds like a great book. And I've got one this week. I do have a lot of serious books. I am an academic. But I thought this week, we all need humor in our lives, especially with how the world is with pandemic, the wars and everything else that is going on. So I've brought on my favorite book in the world, which is First World Cat Problems.
Wow.
And what it is, this book makes me so happy because it is quite literally stock photos of cats looking grumpy and thought bubbles put to them. We never really know what animals are thinking, but it's things like they expect me to coexist with these fish, but they never let me have a crack at them. Or I want to go outside, but I don't want to get my fur wet. I'm thirsty, but the water in my bowl is a day old. First world cat problems.
They got some serious problems, man. The life of a cat, man. A day in the life. You think you got it hard? Try being a cat.
Cats have a hard life. And if 3 a.m. the pets of the cats, which are the humans, are not awake and giving them attention, then let's scratch up the furniture and zoom around and jump on them and paw their faces, stick our bums in their faces until they give us attention, because it is unacceptable.
Demand love. You're not giving me love right now. Hey, why are you watching that TV? Love me.
New's got a habit of trying to, if he likes crisps, if he hears a packet rustle, he's straight there and he's like with his paw trying to get it out your hand. But I used to work at a cat rescue. So it's kind of, I suppose I'm quite au fait with cats and bigger ones actually.
It's funny you're talking about cats. Can I just show you guys a book that I listened to? And the irony is it's about art, and there's a cat on the cover. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna find the picture here and show you on my phone. If I don't show because of this thing, will it? It's not gonna show because of the thing.
We'll put a photo on there we go, on the group chat. We will, on Facebook of all of these books.
Yeah, so we'll share this later on the Facebook group and everything for everybody watching. It's called Finding Your Artistic Voice. And look, there's a cat on the thing. So I really enjoyed that book because it's literally about finding your artistic voice. And I just why not just chuck that in there? Because I listen to art books a lot. Just anything art on Audible, I just give it a go. So I remember enjoying that one. And just it's the one with the cat.
The one with the cat. Okay, cool. So if anyone has any books, TV shows, films, anything to do with art, it could be visual arts, memes, dancing, choreography, anything that has an art form, let us know. We will read it, we will have a look into it, and we will even do a review on it. Yeah. So now we come on to our final little bit. For this week, if you see it on social media, we've created a roulette wheel, or a wheel of fortune, and on each of the segments we have a fun art activity which we'll be doing each week, and every time we do one we'll replace it with a new one. Last week you had seen me and Sarah draw bad drawings of each other, which I ended up really liking. So do check them out. So this week, let's see if it spins how well I've constructed this. Right, we'll go. Oh, there we go. So that's landed on swimming in what? So what we're going to do this week, we're going to take a minute or two to draw ourselves swimming in something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's actually got my creative juices, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Do we have any music this week?
Oh, I forgot about it again. We need to get, if anyone has any suggestions for music to listen to while we quickly do our 1 or 2 minute drawings, let us know, preferably non-copyrighted, but if it's great, we'll use it.
you're allowed to use it if you're not selling it, so you can whatever.
There we go. Right.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm doing it on my cutting board. It's all bumpy from the hot glue from the wheel.
Oh my days.
Okay, I can't draw today.
I'm looking at this, I'm like, yo, man, I'm sure when I was like a preschooler, I drew much way better than this, dog. I'm like, yo.
Oh yeah, I could probably look at my 7-month-old and she could draw better than this.
Are we supposed to show them? I'm a bit concerned about this. This background thing.
The background. The photos will also be on our social medias,
cool.
hopefully they will work.
I'm already finished, man. I don't know how you guys are doing.
Ready? Yeah, I'll say I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Cool. Tat, would you like to show yours?
Yeah. Do we have to set it? Oh, you see, it's.
Yeah, we'll have to go back a little bit.
Okay.
There we go. Now we can see it.
Right. Well, are you gonna try guess it, or are we just showing?
Okay.
Or should I say it?
I'm gonna guess you're swimming in a cloud.
Yeah. Boom. It took me a while to think, how would I draw that? But
yeah. Mine is a majestic work of art, which you will find in the Louvre very shortly.
I was about to book my ticket, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you book your tickets now in advance. Oh, can you see that?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You didn't. You know what? The thing is, I think it would have been less obvious if you didn't write the word, but you're swimming in actual jelly, not in jellyfish in the sea, or in an actual tub of jelly.
What I wrote jelly because I thought, oh, I can't draw jellyfish. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah, but cool. I'd love to swim in jelly. Oh, my days. You don't even swim. You can't even move. You just have to like bounce like on a trampoline. Like,
yeah. What flavor jelly would you swim in, though? I think I'd have to go with lemon and lime.
I think cherry for some reason.
Ooh.
You know, I love anything like that cherry.
So, how are you doing?
Terribly.
Watch out, Banksy. You got competition, boy. Coming for your throne.
I've got seriously crap. Sorry, is it my turn to show and tell?
It is, yes.
Okay, so I
Let's
think
guess what
this
it
is
is.
probably to do with my kitchen at the moment. I've got what I call a culture club going on. Sarah's culture club. I've actually got into fermenting for health.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I'm making sauerkraut. I'm making, is it katcha? It's a Mexican drink.
Mm.
I'm making kombucha, kefir, and anything else that you can leave out. But yeah, sorry, totally off topic. And with a really crappy fine liner. I think I could have done with something thicker, but there you go. I'm
come back a bit,
take
maybe.
it back a bit,
Come
yeah.
back. Keep going back until we see it.
this is perfect.
Finding the why. Are you swimming and finding the why? That's what
There you go.
Oh, we almost had it then.
I think because it's on a white background. It's on a white background. That's why. In fact, just remove the background. Just remove. In fact, oh, there we go.
We've
Swimming
got
with pineapples.
Yay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Swimming with pineapples. Oh, that feels so. It must be so soothing. Nice and right against your skin.
All those spikes.
A bit stingy.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fantastic. If anyone else has joined in with the little activity, do make sure to either send us your photos or tag us in your socials and finding the why, and we will reshare it, comment, and love it really. Because I'm sure that you'll do better than what we've just done in 1 minute. And yes, that's it for this week. If you can find us on our Facebook group, Finding the Why, find us on Instagram, Finding the Why Podcast, and you can find us individually. So as the gallery is the host, you can find it as Tebbs Contemporary Art Gallery, or as me as an artist, it is Kirstie Tebbs Art. You can find Tat as Tat Supreme, and you can find Sarah Hardy as sarahhardy.art or Vivid Lily.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
Vivid Lily Art.
Vivid Lily Art. I'll get it 1 week. So thank you so much for everyone who's come and here live. We're going to be doing it each week on Thursday. Next week we've got a slight time change. We'll be doing it at 6 o'clock instead of 7. Because we are hosting artist talks with the gallery with our current online exhibition, which goes live on Saturday. Did anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, I just would like to say, ultimately, we started this because we're wondering, why do we do anything we do? So, yeah, I'd love to encourage people to, ask themselves that question. Why do anything? Why do you get out of bed? Why come on here and talk stuff like this?
Yeah, and what's your reality as well? What kind of reality are you living? Because I suppose at the end of the day, we all live a certain way day to day, and we might change it, we might deviate, but we kind of create our own reality as well, don't we? And I think especially as artists, we become quite acutely aware of that at times. So
I agree. It's so interesting to see how everyone else sees the world, because no one can see it the same, and having this podcast gives you that little hour break away from the world and just have a laugh with us. And that's the main thing that we have about it. We want to have fun. We want to show ourselves as humans, really, rather than a painting on a wall. And
we're alive, by the way. Like, this ain't no ghost. I'm here now.
Yeah. And yeah, this podcast is as much for us to find our why as helping you guys find your whys and bring you a little bit of joy. So yeah, thank you so much for everyone who's come. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Instagram, our Facebook, and come every week.
Yeah, thank you.
So we'll see you all next week at 6 o'clock instead of 7.
I'm not going to be there. Please remember,
yes.
I'm not going to be there. I'll be back after that. But for those of you who missed me last week and then missed me next week again, I'm a regular.
Yes. It's just been a bit of a poor timing for you, really, hasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, we'll see you all next week. Thank you for coming. Bye.
Take care. Bye.